I personally don't think the city is going to lose much business through Brexit. In fact, I think the city might actually gain business through Brexit because there'll be more high-frequency trading going on, and the European Union can go ahead with its Tobin tax on transactions without us, because that's a direction of travel that they want to go in. But does that not put us at more risk? Does that not ensure that no longer are we part of a union where somebody can actually step in where things go wrong? If there's another financial crisis, another credit crunch that's much bigger and worse than the one that we've actually experienced, with the nature of high-frequency trading, are we not going to be exposing ourselves to more risk as one single country on its own? That would be my question to you in regards to the city. I do want to put something else, and I want to echo the thoughts that Freddie actually put earlier, and it's about how we cooperate as nations together. You talked about demos, and actually when you go back to the original Greek, that actually talks about neighbourhood as well, and neighbours, and it's about cooperating with one's neighbours who are other European partners and other European countries. I feel very patriotic, I feel very British. When I voted Conservative at the last election, I was voting for good British governance first and foremost, with the risk that we might leave the European Union. Even though I wanted to stay in the European Union, the easiest thing to do would have been to vote, if that was my primary issue, would have been to vote against the Conservative Party to make sure there was no referendum. But my primary concern was good governance for this country. So I'm pro-British as much as the next man in that respect. But I do think you need to address the thing about British leadership in terms of, we are now in a situation like the Americans were between the two world wars, where they were considering themselves to be either isolationists, where they shut themselves up from the world, or do what the rest of the world expected them to do, which was stand up and actually be the power that they are. And the rest of the world looks at us and says, you are a Western European power. You are a European power. Take your leadership role on. Why do you negate your duties? And I think that's what they are asking. Thank you.
So I think we are showing leadership by leaving the European Union. I think we're setting a precedent by leaving and turning our back on a profoundly undemocratic organisation. In terms of being a good neighbour, I mean, I love Europe. I'm sure everyone in this room loves Europe. But the best thing about Europe is its patchwork quilt quality. It's a fact that it's culture, it's diversity of the continent. And actually, I think many of the best aspects of Europe, I think the structures of the European Union militate against what I see, the beauty of Europe. So for those reasons, I think that, and in terms of if we leave, well, according to the Lisbon Treaty, not only would the remaining countries of the European Union be obligated through the Lisbon Treaty to come to some sort of an arrangement with us in terms of trade, but Article 8 actually commits them to good neighbourliness. So they would be committed to good neighbourliness. So actually, I mean, I'm being very pro the arrangement, and I love Europe, and I think if we leave, I think we'd have actually a healthier relationship with the remaining members. I think that countries cooperate best when they do so through their identity. I think when nation states feel confident and secure in their identity, that's when they cooperate best. I think when nation states, when citizens within a national democracy feel as though their identity, their very being is under threat, that's when I think that we have bad relations between neighbours. And I think we've seen that over the last few years. in terms of, I mean, who can look at what's happening in Greece over the last 3 or 4 years, with the Golden Dawn rising up, as a direct consequence of the Euro project.
We should have done more.
So,
We should have led more.
the European Union, I believe, by overreaching in its objective, has actually created a force which is pushing the people of Europe further apart rather than closer together. And I go back to the quote.
We've been navel-gazing for too long.
I go back to the quote about Edmund Burke. I mean, I mentioned it earlier on, Edmund Burke, about the love of a little platoon and how the concentric circles of identity. And I stick by the view now. In terms of the financial arrangements, I think that, I'm no economist, but I think being shackled to a federal fiscal Europe within the same structure of cannot be anything other than a negative with regard to the certainty of our future, and I think it would create deep uncertainties going forward. I reiterate what I said at the end of my speech, which Oliver missed, which is that we are the greatest country in the world. We have the English language. We have last year we had a £70 billion, Europe had a £70 billion surplus with us, or remaining countries of the European Union. The idea that we will not be a success story outside of the European Union is folly. But I would say that having come from a debate against somebody who is very representative of the liberal elite and who doesn't make the ideologic case, the democratic case for remaining in, it's good to debate somebody who believes in the democratic principle.